So hi everybody, it's Dawn here from the International College of Energy Healing, and today I'm going to talk about black mirror scrying. Now it's the second in this series of videos all about scrying, and today I'm going to focus on the art of black mirror scrying. You can see some in the background. We'll have an examination in a little while of my scrying tools. Now, black mirror scrying or mirror scrying, it goes back centuries or even thousands of years. So the ancient Greek civilization, they would create chambers specific for the practice of bringing forth the dead. So they'd have these rooms covered with mirrors dedicated for that specific purpose. Now, this was rediscovered in around the 1900s by a guy called Moody, and he recreated the practice. He called it psychomantium, and he would have rooms built with mirrors all around the walls, and they were specific for communicating with spirit. So it certainly is a practice that has a long, rich heritage, even my own. So you know, I'm Irish by heritage, and you know, a big part of the kind of traditional Irish community, they believe that mirrors are portals. And so the practice of covering the mirrors when somebody in the household had died was quite prevalent. And you know, in some parts still is today. So the belief was that the departed soul might get confused and come back through the mirror as a portal, and they obviously didn't want that to happen. So that's where the tradition of covering mirrors comes from. So I've been scrying with glass and black glass for, well, probably since around the 2000s. And I remember my first experience of scrying. I was being mentored by a wonderful Celtic shaman who introduced me to the practice of scrying, and it was a piece of obsidian that he used. And literally when I looked into it, my face started to change. It was pretty instant, to be honest. And my face, I became kind of older. My eyes were different looking back at me. It was a bit disconcerting at the time, but it turned out to be the grandmother of a person who was, you know, kind of in the room with us. And I was able to bring through some amazing, you know, kind of messages and memories for her. So that was quite profound for me. And it certainly got me intrigued about the practice of black mirror scrying, and it is something that I do on a regular basis now. And I'm excited to share with you my practice. So, you know, black mirror scrying, it does work. And I would say that if you are, you know, afraid or of a nervous disposition, then maybe black mirror scrying isn't for you, because I think it's important that when we come to any form of spirit communication, that we come at it from a, you know, kind of a centered, a loving, emotional state. Because when we're in fear, or we're angry, or we're frustrated, or, you know, we have any kind of, you know, negative emotions going on, we can attract things that we don't want to communicate with. So I think it is really, really important to not be fearful through any spirit communication practice, and to always stay heart-centered. That is the most important message I can give you. I've had some profound and really quite bizarre experiences black mirror scrying, even to the point of connecting with what look like otherworldly beings. So it's a wild ride, and it's a, you know, it's a fun practice as well, you know, as well as being a serious practice too. So let's go through my scrying tools. So here's a look at my scrying tools. I will go through each of them one by one. So the first thing I want to talk about is this is an obsidian scrying ball. And it's quite a good tool to use when you're not necessarily looking, wanting to look at your image, because you can put that. I've got a nice little stand there for it, and you can kind of pop it down there and position yourself so you can just see it without any reflections in. Or you can, look at your faces, as well. It can be used for either of those. Probably out of all my scrying tools, it is the one that I use the least. I'm not quite sure why, but I definitely have more kind of go-to favorites. But it is part of my scrying toolkit, and I do love it dearly. So this is obsidian again, and this is a obsidian scrying plate, which is a little bit finger marked. And it was an obsidian scrying plate that I used the first time I ever scryed. So it was something similar to this. And this is a nice one because it's really it's light, it's easy to hold. You can hold it up to your face, or you can position it in a way that just gets that the blank, no reflections in it, and use it for scrying purposes. So that is one of my favorites. Probably the one that I use the most is a black glass scrying mirror, specific for those those purposes. I tend to lean it up on something. I'll either look at it in my face, or have it so that there's no reflections. This is probably the one that I use the most, and it is the one that I'm going to be doing a little video on as well. So so that is that one. The other thing that I want to show you, because I do use ordinary glass as well to scry in. And let me just bring my chest. So this is probably going to have to reposition the camera as well. So this is an old English chest. It's been adapted for the purposes of scrying. So lots of witchy energy in this for sure. And if I open the clasp and move the mirror, you'll see that there is a mirror in the chest. So and one that I will do full face scrying, looking straight into the glass, and again seeing if I can bring forth any spirits. So this is one that I probably use a lot, but the one that I use far more than any other tools that I have is the large glass mirror. Whether you buy your scrying tools or whether you make them, and there are some really good kind of videos and blogs out there about how to make your own scrying mirror. And I'll find a few good ones on YouTube and link them in the description below for you. So if you do want to make your scrying tools, you can. But whether you buy them and make them, one of the first things that you want to do is make sure that you clear them, you cleanse them. Whatever your cleansing method that you use, continue to use that. For me, I like to run the tools through some sacred smoke. You can use sage. I like to use lavender, nettle, sometimes sage, so a bit of a combination there. So smudging is a really good way to cleanse your scrying tools. Sorry, I got tied up then, so excited. And And then once you've cleansed them, kind of dedicate them. All of my tools or crystals, anything that I use for energetic practice or ritual practice, I always dedicate them to the highest good of all. So, I sit with them, I kind of place them on my heart center, and, I make that kind of connection and partnership so that they work in that, in the highest and the brightest way that they can. So definitely dedicate your scrying tools when you first get them. And then in terms of cleansing, it really is important to re-cleanse them before you use them, and then after you use them, as you put them away. And for me, storage is really important. So, I do believe that mirrors are a portal to the to other worlds. So I like to cover all of my my mirrors. They're always covered, and I'll also put a crystal in the cupboard with them, so that they're continually being charged as well. So let's go through the process of scrying with a black mirror, and this is how I was taught to do it. So the first thing is that you need uninterrupted time to do it, and you're probably going to need from start to finish maybe about an hour. So don't do it when the kids are up, or your partner's going to knock on the door, or you've got people come in and you just want to do a quick scrying session. You really do need to take some time to do it, so that you can come to the practice in the right energetic way. And you'll also need to cleanse the space that you're going to be working in. So again, whatever your practice of cleansing is, make sure that you fully cleanse the space. And in terms of lighting, you want it fairly subdued lighting. You don't want it, bright light, but you don't want it pitch black either. So think about the lighting. I'll often scry at night so that the daylight doesn't seep through, but it can look however you want it to. So if you want to scry in the day, that's fine as well. So gather all of the tools that you're going to be using. So whether that's a mirror or a ball or whatever it is that you're going to be using for the scrying session, bring that to the space. And you'll also want, at least one candle, maybe a couple of them, and cleanse those tools. So both the mirror, the scrying mirror, plus the candles as well. Cleanse those, and then spend a little bit of time kind of grounding and centering your own energy, and coming into how I like to describe it is kind of your heart space. So really bringing your energy into your heart. It is a really important practice to get used to, so that you're in the right energetic space to be able to have a successful scrying session. So spend a little bit of time focusing on your breath and going into that heart space. I like to surround myself with white light. I like to set say a prayer, a protection, maybe calling the highest and the brightest to come and step forward and communicate with me. Whatever ritual you want to create is will work for you. If you are somebody who casts a circle before you do any ritual or magical workings, you'll want to cast a circle as well. I think that's good practice. So set your intention. So your intention can be, I want to connect to, Fred, my granddad. It could be a specific person like that, or it could be, I want to communicate with, any spirits, any the highest and the brightest spirits that want to communicate with me. It could be even, I want to gain clarity on a situation, or I want to tap into a past life, or review my Akashic records. I think the intention for the scrying session is really limitless. So whatever you want it to be, set your intention and really kind of speak out loud, speak the words out loud to set that intention. And then what I like to do is to hold the scrying tool. So if it's the mirror, I want to hold that in front of my heart and allow the heart energy to build and stream in. You can visualize it streaming into the to your scrying tool, and that charges it with this beautiful amazing energy, and that really helps with the scrying session as well. So in terms of positioning your mirror or your scrying tool, there are a couple of ways to do that. So you can have it positioned so that you can't see any reflections in it at all. So it kind of looks blank. And so you can, position it in a way that you achieve that. Or you can position it so that you can see your full reflection in the mirror. I've done both, and I still continue to do both, and both have been really, really successful. So have a play around with what works for you, and stick with it. So now you're ready to start your scrying session. You'll want to kind of gaze onto the mirror, and I like to, what I call it is kind of a soft gaze. So you're not kind of staring at it intently, but you're softening your eyes so that you're kind of able to look almost like through and past the mirror, and focus on your breath. So make your breath even and breathe deeply. It really helps you to get into that kind of meditative state, because that's the brainwave state that we want to be with, to be in, so that we can make that make the connections that we want to make. So breathing, our breath is really important in that. If we get any thoughts that come into our mind, just acknowledge them and let them go. If you get distracted, don't get frustrated. Just bring your gaze back to the mirror. Continue to focus on your breath, and really just allow whatever unfolds to unfold. So you might start to see. So if you've chosen the kind of blank, no reflections angle, you might start to see the mirror kind of almost like smoke. There might be kind of smoke tendrils coming up. It might start kind of like a swirling mist. It might go grey. That's usually an indication that something's starting to unfold. Don't get frightened. Just continue to look. Don't have any expectations that it has to look at any particular way. Just allow the images to come forth. If you're using the position where you're looking at your face, you might start to see your features change. You might see other images that are surrounding you. So again, don't get freaked out. Just allow that to happen. Remember that you are surrounded by this beautiful white light of protection. That you've set the right intentions. You're in that wonderful heart space. So don't feel frightened. So as you continue to, kind of softly gaze at the mirror, and you're allowing the images to come forwards, don't analyze them. Don't disregard anything. Just allow everything to happen. It's really good to analyze, afterwards. You can even kind of, make a few journal notes. And I do know some people that will voice record the session, so they will verbalize everything that they're seeing, so that they have that kind of record to analyze. Again, whatever works for you, do that. So how you end the session is really, really important. So when your session is at an end, you want to take your gaze away from the mirror. That's the first point, and kind of concentrate on your breath again. Bring your mind back to your breath. And then you want to, give some thanks. Be grateful for the session. So there might be some words that you say, out loud to formally acknowledge that the session has ended. That you're disconnecting, you're closing down the communication. It's really important to visualize, the doorway, closing. And knowing that process has happened, the doorway is closed, it is done. I like to say, so mote it be. That's my practice. It's done. I also like to energetically, kind of disconnect as well. So I do this just to kind of disconnect my energy. So it's important to remember throughout the session that you remain in control, and you can stop the scrying session whenever you need to. So don't feel like you have to sit there if you're uncomfortable or worried about anything. You are always in control, so you can stop the session at any time. And now we're going to, I'm going to try and record one of my scrying sessions, and I've never done that before, so we'll see how successful I am at doing that. My space has been cleansed. I've cast a circle. I've got the white light of protection around me. And I'm calling my angels and my guides to step forward and to help with this scrying session. And I ask that the highest and the brightest spirits make their presence known, show themselves through the sacred process of black mirror scrying. So now I'm just going to focus on my breath. Just allowing myself to get into a nice meditative state. I'm going to softly gaze at the mirror. And if you want to gaze at the mirror as well, remember to cast a white light around you. Make sure that you're in a nice, calm, centered, energetic space. And as I'm looking at the mirror, I can start to see the mists gently swirling. I'm just going to allow whatever wants to come forwards to come forward. And as I'm looking, there is a face starting to emerge right at the centre. It looks like the face of a younger man. I would say he's probably late 20s, early 30s. But I've lost his image now, it's sunk back into the mirror. Lots of mist swirling around the mirror. And just for a moment I saw it was a very large head in the mirror. It almost took the whole of the mirror, and it looked like a younger child, kind of chubby cheeks, but it was there for an instant and it went. I'm not sure about gender. I was allowing myself to get distracted by the noise of a car going past. So just bringing my awareness back to my breath. Softening my gaze as I look at the mirror. And now I've got an older gentleman. He's kind of on an angle towards the top left quarter of the mirror. Probably 70s or 80s. He's got kind of white wispy hair on either side of his head and bald kind of down the middle. Quite a large nose, very prominent cheekbones. He's disappeared back into the mirror. So I'm going to bring this first scrying session to an end. And I give thanks for any of the spirits that showed themselves in the mirror. I thank my spirit guides and the angels that worked with us. And I ask that this portal be closed. The doorway to the other side is sealed. Visualizing the doorway closing. So mote it be, it is done. And I'm just going to energetically disconnect myself. So there you have it. That was a short scrying session. It was definitely a challenge to do it on video. I'd never done that before. I'd never kind of looked at the mirror through the through a camera as well, which was a really unique experience for me. Certainly, I did see some faces coming through. I'd be super interested to find out in the comments below if you saw any of the same things or you saw some different things. I would love to hear from you. I hope I've inspired you to scry, to do some black mirror scrying. And if you're interested in what I do, what I teach, check us out at www.internationalcollegeofenergyhealing.com. Lots of our programs are online or can be done at a distance. And I will be posting lots more videos. My desire is to, is to teach. It's one of my passions, and this is a vehicle for me to be able to share some of my practices, inspire you maybe, instruct you how to do things safely and effectively. So I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to be doing another video in the scrying series, and it's going to be black water scrying. So check that out. That will be loaded in a couple of days. So enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for watching.